We're delighted to say that we have our Belarusian expert with us now.
And the guest is Mr. Franak Viačorka, who is a senior political advisor to one Sviatlana Tsikhanouskaya, who is a head of Belarusian government in exile. Mr. Viačorka, how is this introduction or reintroduction of the buffer zone, will it change the situation on the Belarusian side? Will it change the situation for the illegal migrants?
We cannot understand why Poland is doing that, because Lukashenko is becoming the threat to the entire Europe. And this buffer zone is the necessary step by Polish government and Prime Minister Tusk. We understand that it will not stop Lukashenko and Putin from making provocations on the Polish and EU-Belarus border. This is the way how they put pressure on our neighbors. This is the way to escalate. This is the way to split Western societies as well and to create troubles for them, to distract attention from Ukraine. This is what criminal regimes are usually doing, and they will continue until they're completely dismantled.
Yes, certainly you talk about the hybrid warfare aspect of this particular move, but, you know, assuming that this buffer zone and the various other constraints that the Polish government is putting in place are effective, and they probably will be, what happens to these migrants? Will they be allowed a place to live? Will they be fed in Belarus, or will they just be left at the fence? What's your opinion?
I think this attempt to move illegal migrants to Belarus and Polish border, they will continue. Because Lukashenko's secret services, they're helping migrants, to find the loopholes in the buffer zone, in the border fence. So I don't think it will completely stop the migration crisis, but probably it will minimize this attempt. We remember in 2021 when the crisis started by Lukashenko on the Polish-Belarusian border, and Poland took very restrictive measures. For some time, it minimized these attempts, but again, it started 3-6 months later with a new force. So it's not the solution. Perhaps it's like a treatment of the symptoms, but not the solution for the entire problem.
Well, we were greatly shaken yesterday in Poland with the news of the alleged stabbing of one of our border guards at 4:20 in the morning. And we were wondering, with Lukashenko's regime control of the media, was that event discussed at all? Are you aware of that? Were there any sort of discussions about this particular event that was so important here in Poland?
It was shocking to all of us. It was shocking to Belarusian democratic forces and to Sviatlana Tsikhanouskaya. We, of course, followed this event. We were not surprised. We understand that Lukashenko will do all possible, to provoke Poland and to weaken Poland. This is the message, because this migrant did not come by himself, but it happened with the support of Lukashenko and his services. Lukashenko's propaganda mostly ignored this incident. They usually blame Poland and Polish soldiers for being too restrictive, but they always ignore the violence conducted by themselves and by the migrants they brought to Belarus and brought to Polish-Belarusian border.
Mr. Viačorka, now the new measures at the border have been criticized by some human rights groups who say that it prevents them from giving aid to women and children amongst the migrants. Do you have any idea of how many women and children are likely to be in that group?
Unfortunately, this is a very painful topic. And of course, there is controversy here. Should the West, the European Union, allow all the migrants who are coming there, or should we stop them and do not create incentive for the regime to intensify this traffic of migrants? Because this crisis is not natural, it's artificial. It's created deliberately by Lukashenko in order to provoke Poland, to put pressure on the European Union. So I think it should be some solution in the middle, for women, for children, for those real asylum seekers. But I understand also the Polish reaction, because if everyone will be allowed, it will only motivate Lukashenko, will motivate Putin to send more and more, to create more pressure. So I think it should be discussed between the government but also civil society to find the proper solution here.
So I know it's very hard to answer that question, but obviously for us it's really important to understand, looking at the group of migrants, is it mostly the young men, or what is roughly the percentage of the women and children? How many of them are the young men, throwing crowbars, knives, bottles at our border guards? What do you think?
I would say these are very different people, from very young to very old, from families with many children, just to sole men who are trying to cross the border. Usually they are recruited by Lukashenko-backed companies in the Middle East, and not only, and brought to the border, brought first to Minsk, and then from Minsk to the border. So there is no very specific group of people there. Very, very diverse crowd who believed Lukashenko that he will deliver them to the European Union. Many of them paid money for getting those. Many of them don't understand that Lukashenko's regime is playing with them, basically using them for hybrid attacks, and they are just hostages of this cruel Lukashenko's and Putin's as well regime, because Putin supported this artificial migration crisis, of course.
Yes, you mentioned Putin there, Mr. Viačorka. Now, clearly, as we said at the beginning, this is a part of a hybrid strategy of attack towards Poland and other countries in the EU. What else is Belarus doing right now at Putin's behest as part of the hybrid warfare strategy?
So right now, Lukashenko is like a Putin's puppet. He doesn't conduct any independent policy, and he does not serve Belarusian people. And he is like a spokesperson for Putin. He is saying things that Putin cannot say loudly. He is threatening the world with nuclear war. They are openly speaking about possible attack with nuclear weapons on Poland and Lithuania. They speak about escalating the war to the Suwalki Gap, this territory which divides Baltic states from the continental Europe. And I think this is criminal behavior. And also they conduct constant military drills. Right now, we see several helicopters arrive to Belarus, and the new drills, they are targeting basically our Western neighbors. They conduct repressions against Belarusians who fight for freedom, who challenge the regime constantly. The whole movement went underground. And these are also part of their crackdown on the democratic community, because I think people who are fighting for freedom right now, and international community defending from Lukashenko and Putin's attacks, they are enemies both for Lukashenko and Moscow.
Yes, they certainly are. They certainly are. And clearly, Lukashenko is playing a full role in Putin's aggression against Ukraine and the rest of Europe. Mr. Viačorka, thank you very much indeed for joining us today and sharing your insights with our audience. Have a good day, sir.
Thank you.